Eu prefiro ser essa metamorfose ambulante do que ter aquela velha opinião formada sobre tudo. Well, old Raul knew it a long time ago. Greetings, Harbingers. Welcome to Iliaster PewDiePie's favorite channel. Subscribe, thumbs up, leave it a comment. Today's video is gonna be good. Stick with me. Well, look at the scenario. You know, I suck speaking to the camera and all, but you gotta tell that I picked the best scenarios, right? Look at this place. How amazing it is! I hope my phone doesn't hit, because when I go like this in the sun, it hits and it screws with the recording, but it's worth showing. And of course, there's our airplane up there. Perspective expansion. The Antinomy Metamorphosis. What the hell is that about? It's been a while since I wanted to record a video on this subject, because we spend so much time within our cell phones and scrolling and in this tiny addictive dopamine rewarders that keeps us trapped in this vice cycle. And I don't know, I'm seeing that we are further and further closing ourselves up into our own bubbles, building up walls that's preventing us from seeing the bigger picture. On that note, what is perspective expansion? It's an ability to a maximum extent, why not, question yourself, question the world, question others, in a healthy way, of course. Everyone has values, and I have an opinion that you can question things up to an extent, since it doesn't cross your values. However, even certain values could suffer some sort of paradigm shift. Values are complicated, and I will record a video just about values, but let's keep the values away from now and keep on the perspective expansion here. Why did I call it an antinomy metamorphosis? Well, what is antinomy? Let's break it down. It comes from the Greek. Anti means opposite, against, and nomy come from norm, rule, or something against the rule or against the norm, against the law. To give you like a practical example of an antinomy. Antinomy could be two ideas that make sense, converge, yet they can create a paradox at the same time. For example, let's say you tell your 5-year-old, you know, it's good to share your toys with your friends, but also keep your favorite toy to yourself so you can play with it. What are you telling? That sharing their toys is a good idea, whereas keeping their favorite toy with themselves is also a good idea. So see that both ideas are good ones, but they are also contradict one another. If you are keeping yourself a toy, you're not sharing that toy, right? That's an example of an antinomy if you are to explain that to a 5-year-old. But for our example here is questioning. One of the ways to question things is to have experiences. Because if you don't have experiences, if you're living in your bubble, you won't be able to expand your perspective on things. Let me give you another example. Traveling. Traveling is a good way to expand your perspective. Expanding your perspective is openness to experiencing things you otherwise never thought of. For example, a different trip, or I don't know, going outside for a walk in a park, watching the birds, watching people, watching the plants around you, you know, realizing the environment around you. And I think we are losing sense of that, of paying attention to things, you know. So that's a cliche, but when was the last time that you did something for the first time? I myself, for example, about 2 years ago, my life was just working 12, 16 hours a day, literally trapped in my tiny office. When I wasn't working, I was like playing video games inside my office, and that's it. I didn't have any sort of experiences, and in my personal case, it was destroying me. In order to change, to expand my view, my perception of the world, I had to change, I had to take action. So That's the practical part. How willing are you to expand your perspective having these small experiences? For example, I quite don't have the time now, but at the first opportunity, I'm going to start learning a martial arts. I'm torn between boxing and Muay Thai. I'm still deciding. That's something I want to do. One of the things that it's also in my plans, I'd like to learn, like become a sushi man, learn how to cut fish, how to prepare sushi, Japanese cuisine. I just love that stuff. I love Japanese cuisine, and I want to learn that as well. There are so many things I want to learn, and I came to a conclusion that, well, when you are open to expand your perception of the world, you start to crave for learning new things all the time, whereas you realize that you only have so much time to learn stuff because our time is limited. We are mortals. We're not going to live forever. I wish I could live forever to learn everything there is. I just remember one thing. I just remember something that Orochimaru from Naruto said. He was having a dialogue with someone. I don't know. I don't recall whom, but he said something along those lines. Collect all things and learn everything there is, and you will be happy. I think, it kind of makes sense because Orochimaru managed himself to become immortal. He had this ability to trade his body from time to time so he could renew his cells and prolong his immortality. So he also could learn a lot of things, and that was happiness for him. Quite an amazing character and villain. Orochimaru-sama. Here I'm talking about practical things. I just gave examples like traveling, learn something new. I've also on a personal target of at least reading one book a month. A month read a book, it's a lot. People want change, but nobody wants to change because it takes a lot of effort. But you can break those into small steps. You want to quit that thing like adult 18 plus only blah 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 funds and whatever. Start small. Once a week, you won't do these things. Or put yourself in a streak like 7 days, I won't do these things and see what happens. You're gonna be surprised with the results. Perspective expansion could be either about doing new things or quitting bad habits that you've been cultivating for years. And once you start to see the results, your perception of the world will change. It's like your brain gets upgraded with fresh new data, and therefore it becomes bigger and better and expanded. Let's go to theoretical part of this perspective expansion. I started this video talking about bubbles and how are we closing ourselves up in our own bubbles, in our own world, in our own limited beliefs. The basic formula to perspective expansion lies in the good old thesis, antithesis, synthesis. If you strong believe in something, whoa, I'm taking some risks here because I just cannot keep moving. So if you want to challenge yourself, take the things you believe and go after the antithesis of it. And if you don't have enough information about it, go to the thesis, then go to the antithesis, and, my dear friend, obtain your synthesis. That's how you'll be expanding your perspective on things. You know the things that you disagree? Go study them. Go research why certain people think that way. That's quite opposite to the things that you think. And obtain your own synthesis. That's how you expand your mind. Expand your perspective on things. Just like How Song. I'd rather be this ambulant metamorphosis other than having an old opinion formed about everything. That was the message of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Look at that. Beautiful scenario. I'll try to make a 360 here and not fall. Well, see you in the next video. El Psy Conguru. And remember, question everything. Why?